All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's installment of our technology deep dive featuring Ostra Security. This series is designed to give our partners a closer look at leading technology solutions, how they work, and where they can create new opportunities for your customers. Today, the Ostra team will share how they help businesses navigate AI securely, strengthen cybersecurity, and maintain ongoing protections. You'll also get a live look at Ostra Security Portal and learn how their team supports your customers and partners throughout the journey. If at any point you guys have questions, just type them into the chat. We'll be sure to address them towards the end. With that being said, I'll hand this over to the Ostra team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Little introductions to everyone on Ostra. Melly, you click the next. Yeah, perfect. So I look very similar to my headshot. I'm in a hoodie today instead of a button down. But I founded Ostra in 2018. I was with United Health Group Optum before that for about 20-ish years. Provided a lot of security initiative, networking, security global initiatives, sat in the mergers and acquisitions team, developed a lot of really cool stuff for them. And my one tagline I always try to throw in is that the board of directors in 2015 carved off $100 million for me to go solve a security problem that they had, and which turned out pretty successful. Joining me today is Mel Kalinsky. She leads our channel partnership team, working with the ACS team, and kind of she'll be the main point of contact for the ACS to go through deals, talk about different opportunities, any content that's needed as well. And then Keela Locker, she's one of our senior sales engineers. She joined us last year via an acquisition, and will walk us through a demo of our platform a little bit later. So next, who is Ostra? So, and I always pronounce it Ostra, not Ustra or Ostra. Ostra, I founded Ostra with the idea that we would bring that enterprise grade level security program to the mid-market space. We're in Minnesota, in the Midwest, but we support national, international customers. We have several, I think we're pushing close to 350 clients today across the US and some international locations. Where the main focus when we started was to protect the small businesses. We've grown in that, and now we're from kind of that small, but more in the mid-market, just below the enterprise organizations. Mid-enterprise organizations that have maybe an IT person or an MSP, but don't really have a security program. Our trademark really is to be your trusted cybersecurity team. We focus on being a partner rather than a vendor. I was as a former IT buyer, or I guess still as a technology buyer today, or a technology buyer for quite a few years, that the biggest thing for me was wanting to make sure I had partnerships versus a vendor that I was just a number for. So our vision and our mission kind of evoke that, where our goal is to be your partner, the client's partner in this, where we want to bring them through a cybersecurity journey. We don't want to sell them a tool, a black box tool that doesn't, nobody knows what it does. So we are very transparent in protecting those organizations. I was looking at this slide earlier. I just read a LinkedIn post the other day about how every cybersecurity deck presentation has this slide in it. So I probably won't spend much time on it. We know that security is important, and it continues to grow, and where AI is being leveraged today by all these threat actors, it's becoming more easy for events and security breaches to happen. Um, the big difference in here I'll call out is we're really the only one that we've seen that does the additional R. A lot of our competitors in this space will do the managed detection and response, and typically they define remediation. Everybody defines it a little bit different. Remediation, or what we see in response and remediation, is an email or a communication with action steps that you need to take or the client needs to take to implement the steps to take care of the incident. The difference with Ostra is because our proprietary system, the tools, and our team, the processes that we use, that we are actually taking remediation. So we'll go in and we'll clean a workstation. We'll quarantine emails out of users' inboxes. We'll run playbooks that are defined where we're doing password resets or resetting MFA in a 365 environment. We're taking that alert, the event, and then taking on the action in our security operations team. And a lot of that's defined during the onboarding processes with our clients, but the big difference in an Ostra solution is that next step. We see a lot of, in this industry in the last 5 years, 10 years or so, that there's been a lot of focus on just pointing at the problem rather than solving and being a partner with those customers. In our solution stack, we obviously, our 24/7 XDR platform. It's managed by our SOC. We're a global SOC. We follow the sun. We have a trusted team, experience. We have depth and all the certifications that you can think of, from security response, as well as technology from various enterprise tooling platforms. We provide an endpoint security solution. We can endpoint, the ones on the right hand side are really, we have two different packages. One is you can bring your own tools, where if a client has an EDR, an email security, we're not forcing them to migrate to ours. We'll ingest that data. We'll work with the client and we'll do the remediation actions. But if they don't have an EDR solution, or they're not satisfied, or they want to, maybe they have a contract renewal in 6 months, that type of thing, that we can go in and give them the protection and the 24/7 monitoring that they need. And then we can start to pick away at some of the other pieces. But we provide endpoint security, email security, spam phishing protection. We have firewall management that we can do, secure web gateway. So really just securing their internet traffic, steering it where it needs to go correctly, providing security awareness training, phishing training to clients as well. We also have a collector sensor appliance that, if for organizations, think manufacturing, or corporate headquarter, that an appliance that gets installed that looks at your internal insider activity. So we're looking for rogue access points. We're looking for IoT devices that are not properly configured or protected, making sure that there's not a compromise on the TV in the lobby, because it's sending telemetry to China and then scanning the network, which is a real case. So that appliance looks for that in some of that internal traffic, internal activity. Our packages, I kind of talked a little bit about this and how we sell what fits in them. So we have an essentials, bring your own tools. We're providing our 24/7 security operations there. The biggest piece is that organizations within an existing tool stack. We don't want them to have to force into a new tooling. We'll take all that. Whatever you have, we'll ingest it. Whatever tools you have, we'll take it in. and monitor it and do remediation work for you. In that middle is kind of our core, where it's organizations that want to elevate their EDR platform. Maybe they have like an off the shelf or an AV type product that's not a true endpoint detection. Also, our vulnerability management, monitoring, identity is because where we see a lot of these compromises are in identity. Business email compromise through a phishing campaign, users clicking on something. We want to make sure that we're looking at that. Excuse me, looking at that and ingesting all of those logs so that we can quickly identify and an event turns we remediate quicker in hours versus months down the line when an ACH transfer happens. So the organizations that have some tools but need upgraded tools, and then our plus is that complete, where we have the tools, we provide managed email security, secure web browsing, we bring in the security awareness training as well as the others with the vulnerability management, EDR. These are kind of look like more, they're mature businesses, but not in a mature security. Maybe they have one or two IT people, desktop guy that's been promoted into, or systems admin that's now an IT leader in an organization, and he's responsible for trying to implement Copilot or whatever new AI, as well as making sure people aren't clicking on stuff. So we come in and bring those additional tools. We become an extension across all three of these. We become an extension of their security team, or become their security team for them. We really try to embed and partner ourselves with the organization rather than just being that vendor that's out there. The differences in our solution is kind of, and I think we'll send this around afterwards too, but as you see from between the different packages, the stuff at the bottom where it's when we add on the managed EDR, the workflow automations, but across the base is going to be that 24/7 SOC, our agentic AI tooling, and our security orchestration that is ingesting that telemetry, looking at identity, looking at asset coverage, do all the assets have endpoint protection or mobile device management protection on them, being able to call that out and reporting, and then also kind of that 90-day log retention. It's a little bit different than some of our competitors out there. So, and then monthly review. So what we typically do with clients is we'll send out some monthly reporting, but then we also do monthly or quarterly security reviews with our clients. So we'll bring in one of our either the SOC leader or one of our tier 2 analysts that will come in and walk through with our customer success team of what's going on, what we've been seeing, what concerns we have around the security posture inside of a client. So recommendations, if we're seeing an influx of spam phishing, maybe we'll look to tighten up conditional access policies in 365, or we'll do this stuff. So the big thing for us is, again, I repeat it, is this journey. Cybersecurity or addressing cybersecurity is not just a project that's one and done. This is something that it needs to live and breathe in an organization. And working with organizations and CFOs and boards on timelines and budgets, and we're really we want to be a part of that journey and help give the guidance that maybe this year we don't implement something specific, but we put it in the budget and it happens next year. So as a part of that kind of that report or that review, the posture briefings, we include some of those activities as well. As like we try to understand what the business is working on, what the roadmap is, and then implementing how we can implement security across. So
awesome. Thanks, Mike. So as you're taking all this in, you're probably wondering, who is this a good fit for? We are looking for, our ideal client is somebody who has anywhere between 150 and 1,500 employees. And really, as Mike mentioned on the previous slide, what is very helpful in our case and what we offer is an overburdened IT team, one that is maybe too small for the amount of employees they're trying to serve, and really no security specialist or security employee on staff. So they really aren't looking to build an internal SOC. They understand the time and the investment in doing so. And they're really just looking to outsource that to somebody who can act as more of an extension of their existing team, whether their existing team is internal or they're utilizing, an MSP, et cetera. We do have a couple of different industries that make a lot of sense for us. We service clients in many different industries, but healthcare, financial services, legal, manufacturing, these are all spaces where they're held to a certain level of compliance and they need to maintain that to not get fined. We really prefer to work with teams that understand why they need security, not just those that are looking to check that box, but those are great triggers. Being the need to be compliant, having some sort of a security incident, failing an audit, et cetera. So teams where leadership really understands what's at risk, but they don't have the internal resources to address it. So why Ostra? There are so many different options out there. There are plenty to choose from, and we like to point out a few places where we are different from our competitor and why we would be a better fit for some clients over other teams that are available. We talked about earlier in the presentation, we don't just give that shoulder tap to let you know that something's wrong and send a bunch of emails hoping that somebody on the other end is taking care of it. We go through and actually fix what we find. We work in conjunction with an existing team if we don't have access, and we ensure that we're going through steps to remediate, not just give you a little, hey, something's going on over here. Through our Pulse platform, we give tons of transparency on what's happening in your client's environment at all times. Akila is actually going to run us through that here after I get through one more slide and show you why that makes a big difference for your clients as well. We also have our own security operations team. So you're not dealing with outsourced folks, you're dealing with our teammates, people who work either in the Minneapolis area. We have a handful here in Detroit. They are people that you are going to get to know and become familiar with. And those are the folks that you are working with at 2 a.m. on a weekend or a holiday, not strangers that you haven't engaged with before. As Mike mentioned previously, we also will ingest just about anything. So several of our competitors will do their pricing based on how much data they're ingesting, and they kind of penalize teams for having more for them to go through and look at. We don't do that here. We have set pricing. We want everything, and we don't want to discourage teams from giving us the information that we need to be really good at what we do. So a few things to this slide really is probably one that you will use after today. It's not one that I'm going to spend a lot of time on because I want to make sure I leave time for Akila, and then I have a few slides after she speaks. So this really just sort of walks you through how to best work with our team and the way that our sales cycle works so that you have a very clear picture of how to move things through for your client without running into delays because you're not sure who to contact. So this is all laid out for us here. And again, this will be going out to you all afterwards. So I won't belabor that point. And Akila, I'm going to stop sharing so you can take the reins and give us our run through of Pulse.
Can you make sure I'm talking? Okay. So this is our Pulse dashboard. We go through unify, analyze, and respond kind of architecture. That's how we deliver our services. Unify, obviously, we ingest any number of raw events with our open XDR platform. We can connect to what's already in place. If you don't want to rip and replace the technology that your team has already built up, we can work with you, or we can also help you to upgrade or replace that with Ostra technology. So we give you total flexibility and choice at the same great outcome of being able to bring it all together into a single pane of glass. So the top 3 clickable tiles over here: open security alerts, open investigation, and open security incidents. Open security alerts are events that have been ingested, normalized, and enriched. They have gone through our AI and machine learning based triage and are now queued for human analysts to review. And then open investigation represent item where a human analyst is actively engaged. That could be a SOC analyst triaging an alert or conducting research or collaborating with your team to gather additional context. And open security incidents are events we have confirmed as true positive and are actively managing through our incident response process. And the next set of widgets here in the middle is our time to metrics. These are essentially our report card to you. Ostra is a strong proponent of truth in cyber moment, and these metrics exactly show how we are performing. This includes time to respond to alerts, how quickly we respond to alerts, time to resolve alerts, how fast we resolve them, and time to resolve incident, how efficiently we handle confirmed incident end to end. These are shared metrics designed to reflect the real, transparent operational performance of our security services. And then let's move to triage signal. So we unify all of the data, and you have the visibility into what's connected. We triage that into signals. So we are going through automated process using automation to triage down what's interesting out of these raw events and alerts. This signal triage section will give you a high-level view of the type of signal that's coming in and how we are um, triaging that. Um, gives you a high level view of types of signal that are coming in and how that trends over time. It's useful for understanding the overall flow. From here, you can drill down, for example, you can adjust the time at the top here and select month to month to get more detailed view. And let's move to the next one, sources. And this gives you a high-level summary of all the data sources feeding into our platform and how that's trending over the time. And this will help us monitor the health of each data source and ingestion pipeline. And the monthly check-in. This is our monthly check-in view. All our monthly reporting is delivered through Pulse Portal, where you can easily view your month-to-month metrics and compare them with previous month or go back to several months to review historical trends. This gives you consistent visibility into how your security posture and activity change over time. And the data connector tab here will show the data connector monthly data ingest. And then Office 365, this will show you M365 logging specifically. You can see the records are coming in over time, and you can drill down into various breakdown like login activity, login by country, failed login, user behavior, password activity, group changes, and more. Essentially, all the key you would need to keep an eye on from a security standpoint. And if you want to dig into the data yourself, everything is here is exportable into a CSV form. And if you want to do a deep dive, you can click view into logs. And then that should take you to the log viewer for deeper analysis. So this is a view into our data science. And if you're familiar with Kibana, this interface should look very similar, which makes it easy to use it right away. From here, you can work with parsed fields, such as you can search specifically for IPs or keywords and quickly filter down into what your specific information you're looking for. And it comes in raw format, but it can also switch it into JSON view. And all this is exportable. All these logs can be exported into CSV, and you can also run time-based searches. Let's run into security signals, and let me pick one here. So I'm sure you guys have seen alerts that come out from various other platform that just gives false positives, and it's just noise that comes in and comes out. Our triage process basically handles that portion of it and really grooms it down to what it actually matters and what has to be investigated on your behalf. So let's walk through what happens when a detection occurs. When activity is identified, we generate a signal. All signals are visible to you in this portal, giving you full transparency into what we are seeing and processing on your behalf. However, generating a signal doesn't automatically trigger a notification. Signal go through automated triage, enrichment, analysis. Only when something is deemed actionable, we escalate it to alert, and that's when notifications are sent. This approach helps you to keep your inbox clean and always allows both the teams to stay focused on what truly needs attention on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. For example, let me go back here. So the top section here shows the standard metadata you'd expect on an alert, things like sources, severity, and timestamps. What really valuable here is the full alert lifecycle. From the initial detection through enrichment and escalation. In this example, the alert originated through a phishing email. It came in as a medium severity, and it went through our threat intelligence enrichment and has extracted 7 observable. Based on the intelligent verdict, it's confirmed as malicious. The alert is automatically escalated to high severity. If anything is classified as suspicious or malicious, we automatically escalate it to human analyst, which is what happened here. And in this case, our analyst reviewed it and agreed with ICVRT and set the manual verdict to malicious, confirming it as true positive. And that's what actually drove this to escalation into an actual alert. So at this point, we have escalated to an alert. That's when we would send out notification to your team saying, hey, there's something worth investigating here. We are looking into it. From here, we can drill into further look into detail of the observable. Within this view, you will see observable associated with the alert like email address, domain, URL, IPs, file hashes, and command line parameters. Each observable is classified into verdicts such as malicious, unknown, benign, and suspicious, which helps us explain how the alerts was evaluated. So throughout this process, all update and communication are captured in the comment section here. You can see analyst updates in this section. You can also see the full comment history and full life cycle of when it started to when it got closed from the case reader. And then last, of course, we have the executive summary. Once a case is completed and closed, executive summary will automatically be updated. And this will give you a single consolidated view that you can use to update management and leadership as needed. And you can also collaborate with us here. You can make comment here, and if you're unhappy with an alert or how it's being handled, and if you want to do like additional review to any alert, you can comment directly to this, and this request will flag the alert and pushes it back to the top of our queue for escalation and further investigation. So that's with the security signal, and another one, this is one of my favorite portion, the threat bulletin at the top of the Pulse dashboard here. Anytime something is interesting, if something interesting is happening, or whether it's specific to your environment or something that's showing up in the news, we publish a threat bulletin that shows up right here at the top as a little banner. You can see it right away. If you want to look into more, you can click more, and that should take you to the actual article. So this article is written up by our head of cyber threat engineering and response team. And you can also go to the historical banners. Here's a list of historical banners. So let me click one more. So this is linked to a third-party article. We usually link it to additional resources or publish a small write-up on our blog so you can get more details if you're interested. What's important is that we can tailor these, so it's not just generic threat, it's focused on what actually matters to your organization. It's really easy to stay informed and also keep your leadership up to date on what's trending and what we are watching for. And you can also submit manual alerts at the top here. So you can submit manual requests, and the contact, you can call us or email us. All the information is right here. So that's it. Well, I'll pass it back to you.
Success. All right. So we have talked through different ways to help minimize the risk in your environment, and now we will talk about a different kind of risk. I typically do not love a very busy slide, but this meme really cracked me up, so we had to make sure we included it on our slide today. We'll talk about a couple of different risks that are associated with the use of AI, especially when maybe the employer doesn't know that AI is already in their environment. So, you have different scenarios where this could happen. Maybe you have an employee who pastes a client contract into ChatGPT to give them a summary of it. You might have a finance manager who uploads an invoice to extract different line items. You didn't really think about what they were doing as being something risky. They were just trying to get their work done a little more quickly. They just moved some very sensitive data outside of their environment, visibility, and control. With the way that our cyber threats are utilizing AI, phishing is becoming more convincing, social engineering is more targeting, and vulnerability discovery is faster. Threat surfaces have definitely changed. Another issue that we are seeing in this space is governance gaps. Many companies are not up to speed yet on having policies in place or intake processes. Maybe they don't have great visibility. So there's a big gap happening there in terms of what's happening in their environment and how they could be controlling it if they knew what was going on in their environment. So back to some statistics. We won't spend too much time talking about these because share what is the risk and then how do we help minimize that risk. So one of the things that we have seen is that many SMBs have AI tools that are active in their environment, but maybe there's no review of those tools or policies associated with that. So AI is already inside of our clients' businesses, whether the client invited it or not. AI-assisted threats are moving 3 times faster than traditional attack patterns. There's better phishing, faster lateral movement, smarter targeting. The threat landscape didn't just grow, it got sharper. Only 12% of organizations have a formal AI security policy, so that governance gap is wide open, and most SMBs have no idea. So the point to land on with your clients, they may not have opted into AI, but AI showed up in their environment through the tools their employees are already using. The question isn't whether AI is in the building, it is. The question is whether anyone is watching. And that's where Ostra steps in and helps your client's team determine what is happening out there, and then we help them, guide them through what to do with that information. So we can go in and do application discovery. So yeah, you can't protect what you don't know is there. Understanding which tools have AI components, which browser extensions are AI powered, and whether any of them have data retention clauses buried in the terms of services. A lot of customers are shocked when they see what they're actually dealing with. We also help with applying the right controls. We can identify and then help with who can have access to what data can be shared externally, things of that nature. And then most importantly, it can help with establishing some governance. We need a use policy. We need an intake process. We need clear answers to if the employee wants to use AI for work, what's the approved path? And most SMBs, they don't have that in place today. So this is where we fit into this new age of AI showing up in places where maybe your customer didn't realize it was there already, and how we help them solve for that so that they can move into utilizing and adopting AI in a way that is smarter and safer for everybody. So I know we did a ton of talking today. Want to make sure we pause and give enough time for questions that may have come up, things of that nature. Of course, after the fact, we'll send this deck out so that you'll have the information on how to go back through. And once you do have an opportunity, what that looks like, you're going to reach out to me. My contact info is all here. And then we'll talk about a warm introduction between you and your client and us so that we can understand what's happening in their environment and where we would be a good fit, talk through some solutions, and come up with a proposal for how to answer the opportunities that they have. So I'm going to pause there. Sergio, I don't know if you had any questions come out, so.
Yeah, I'll read one off to you guys. What are some ways or opening questions that partners can talk to customers about in regards to their security needs? I think often we have customers who know they need security, but just don't know, how to start that conversation. What's like an easy question just to kind of open up a conversation about security for them?
I mean, I think some easy ways to start broaching the topic with your clients are to ask where they're at. Do they understand where they're at in their security journey? Many times we ask these questions during a discovery call, what do you have in place today? And they'll say, oh, really, not much. We have an email filter. And then 20 minutes later, as we're talking about something else, they remember that they also have a VPN in place, or they're also using some other tool that, it didn't really occur to them initially to talk about. So I think starting with asking, what do they have in place today? And, who's making those decisions? Who's deciding what security tools we need in place? We'll kind of start that ball rolling, and then we can continue to pull at that thread as they answer. We do have some really good information on that in our partner guide, which I believe, Sergio, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you guys have that in some form of a portal, but I can be sure to send that when I send the deck over to you as well.
Okay. There was another question. Is there a minimum user count?
So today we ask that we have a minimum of 20 users. We've been servicing smaller clients all along, and while we can do that, it is definitely more, we'll say, cost beneficial for both the partner and for us to be at about 20 users. So we can make exceptions, but that's what we would ask that you look for.
Got it. And there was another question. Who is your primary competitor?
So we run into several in this space. I would say the largest and most consistent would be Arctic Wolf, but I bet Mike has an opinion on that. He unmuted himself. So
Yeah, no, I would agree. Our Arctic Wolf, we see us up against the eCentire as well. We see a lot of clients that come to us from, like, the Coro and the Coro stuff that happened, and then a lot of the smaller ones like ReliQuest, ProCircular. But I think for us in the Midwest and kind of Minnesota, Arctic Wolf is here as well. We pick up a lot of Arctic Wolf renewals. And it's a lot of it. What we see from the competitor landscape when we have the conversations with them is around just the visibility and transparency and the services that are being provided versus like a monthly report. So they're looking for that more of that partnership.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. We'll be sure to, this call has been recorded. We're going to share it with partners. We'll be sure to repost this as well. There is one more. How do you fit into a customer's MSP?
Great question. We enjoy working with MSPs. We find that when there is an MSP in place, especially if they're one that's familiar with us, we work with several MSPs. It's a very good experience for the customer and for us, because the MSP understands the environment, and it's usually a very good fit. So I don't know, Mike, you have a different opinion, but that's what I tend to see.
There's not a different opinion. I would just expand on that a little bit. That the MSPs that we partner with have typically like a good, better, best type program, like a whatever, silver, bronze, gold, and then we typically fit in that best solution. So they'll go into clients that they don't want to pay anything. They just want antivirus. And then as that client matures, or they have more mature clients that are looking for that 24/7 security operations, that's where we sit in there, like their gold or platinum or best SKU. And the relationship that we have with the MSP is, we're that security partner. We work with the MSP, and either they have the relationship with the client, they maintain that relationship with the client, and then we become that outsource piece. In a security incident, obviously speed is critical. So we'll partner with the MSP, but we'll probably be reaching out directly to the end client or end customer. But the majority of our interaction is with the MSP, and then we join whatever they're asking us, their QBRs. They talk to the reporting. They bring us into the different sales cycles as well. So.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, like I said, we'll send a follow-up. With that being said, thank you to all the partners, ACS team who joined this call, and a big shout out and thank you to the Ostra security team for leading this presentation. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.